Hey everybody, welcome back to Shapr3D. So yesterday I had a video about how to make a cabinet that you can adjust with the door being adjusted as well, this part right here. And I ran into some people with questions, and so I'm here to answer them today. So today's going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to start from scratch because it is so different. But basically, let me go into a little bit of the history. So as you can see here, we have some of them named, and then over here as well, and just a couple names as you can see. And the reason if you go on Facebook, you'll see my post, is there going to be folders, because as you can see, these options here and these options here, you basically have to select in both of them and then unsuppress to do an option of that specific movement. Okay, what I would prefer to see instead of this is I would prefer to see something like in the items menu where you can simply put, let's say you put these things in the folder just for the heck of it. Let's do that. And then you can simply go in and click the icon to hide all those things. And that's what I would like to see here in the history folder as well. That's one thing. But let's go ahead and start with the tutorial and show you why this one's different. So if we go ahead and select and unsuppress our little open door thing here, let me show you how this works. So depth, we can choose the depth here. Let's say we want a 24 depth cabinet. That goes to 24. That's pretty obvious. And for the height, let's say we want, instead of a 42, we want a 96. And as you can see, this stays in the center. And not only that, but also you can do something like this. Let's say we want 6 of these shelves instead of just the one. So we can actually go in there and change that. So if we want 6, we need to actually press 8. So let's go ahead and click done. And as you can see, we have this thing. So this is a two-step process, but it does still work. So if we go here, we click edit, we choose this face, click done. Now we have a cabinet that's basically good for a library, and everything is there. And then we can adjust, obviously, other things. But this is the basics of the cabinet. And one thing to note, if you're trying to get a cut sheet from this, if you're a woodworker, this probably won't work as well for you unless you go a lot of extra steps. But this is basically just a little preview of what I'm going to go in to teach you in this tutorial. Okay, sorry for the long rant. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the reason we're starting from scratch is because the process is totally different if we want adjustable shelves. And the way we accomplish that is we start from a different perspective. But anyways, let's go ahead and start from the front plane as well here. And again, I'm working on a frameless cabinet. That's a 3/4 inch cabinet with no front frame. So it's not a full overlay, it's not a partial overlay, it's a frameless. So just keep that in mind as we're working. So let's go ahead and start with a sketch and draw a rectangle. Make sure you're in diagonal and start from the very center, because the center is the best place to be. And our cabinet is going to be 24, but we're actually going to start with the inner bottom. Again, this is not for woodworkers. This is just for 3D modeling specifically, just in the sense that I'm setting up the cabinet to be able to be modified in size and height, and it's going to be hard to get a cut list from that unless you do very specific things. So let's go ahead and start. We need a 24-inch cabinet minus each side. That's 1.5 total, so that's 22.5. And what we need to do is actually, before we adjust the height, we need to move this by exiting sketch mode by 0.75, 3/4 of an inch, and then lock this point into place, and also do the horizontal vertical constraint, and then we can go in and do 0.75 for that. Okay, once we have that, we go ahead and extrude that sketch out by 12, which is a basic wall depth. And once we have this point, we now go to transform pattern. Okay, so double click your little slab there, or shelf, and then we need to go up to a total distance of 42 minus 3/4, that's 41.25, and we're fine at 3 for now, so we'll settle with that. All right, now we go to tools, extrude this out by 0.75. Make sure you click new body, click done, And then to tie this piece together to the other piece, what we need to do is Tools, Replace Face, select this face, and replace it with this one. Click Done. Now we go to Tools, Extrude. We select this face and this face, and then extrude it out by 0.75. And as you can see, it extruded both sides. And we need to click New Body, click Done, and then Tools, Replace Face, this face, and this face. Make sure they're both blue, and then this face is the target face. Click Done. And then obviously we're doing extra steps here just to make sure that excuse me, to make sure that everything works properly, and you'll see how it works after this. But basically, once we have that set up, you can see if we go here into our pattern, we can change it to, let's say, 8, right? And then if we go to the face replacement, we edit the face and we go select that one, click Done. Now we have our shelves. So this is the easy way to make those changes. Okay. Once we have this, we need to Tools, Extrude, select these 3 faces, and not the top one, because the top one actually, believe it or not, this one, if you change the pattern, this becomes only the second, or rather third. This one becomes the third piece of the pattern instead of the final one. So you actually cannot extrude that out because it will break your history. Okay, so this is why history is a bit complicated unless you practice. But basically, we go out by 0.875, I believe, 0.875, which is 7/8, and click Done. And make sure it's a new body as well. Click Done. Now we go to Tools, Replace Face, and just use the other face. Click Done. All right, from this point, we go ahead and sketch on this face, do a rectangle from the center, and we can adjust our frame here. And basically, we're just going to make a shaker frame. This is a rough standard here at 2.75, just like in the previous video. And you can change that later. Obviously, since we're doing it manually, you will be able to adjust it if you want to. All right, and then from here, we simply extrude that in and then adjust it to whatever size we want, and again, adjustable later. Okay, so here we have a cabinet that's fully adjustable. As I showed you guys, can adjust the height and the number of shelves. And let's say we want this to also open. Okay, so what we can do here is we can use the revolve tool and revolve it by 90. But as you guys know, if you have the right hardware, this should not be here. It should be over here. So what we need to do now is move this over by 0.875. Now we have an actual cabinet that's open. So we can, even when changing the history, we can look inside without having to hide it. If you want it also for your customer display, you can show that. But to make that happen, if you go to the history here, we have these 2 movements, right? So if you want to, let's say the good reason for the folder is I want to put these 2 in there, right? So select these 2, select, if it would let me, these 2, and then click Suppress. And here we have our closed door again. So I would really prefer to put these in the folder and just click an eye icon to be able to work on that as a movement. So it's basically what parametric is. It's a lot like computer coding, where you actually have to, plan ahead and use steps and make a whole process to make things work. So it's kind of like a video game in its own way, but slightly different. But basically, this is how you make a cabinet with adjustable shelves. And as I was about to turn it off, I realized I forgot to show you guys how to make the hardware. Also switch sides. So let's go ahead and do one more step, maybe 2. I'll see how much time I have. But basically, let's go ahead and do a sketch right here, and then a circle. Let's make it 0.5. We're just going to make a random piece of hardware, but it's going to be really cool because it's going to be adjustable to make it right hinge or left hinge. So basically 0.5 as a new body. Then Tools, extrude this as another 0.5. Make sure it's a new body again because we're going to adjust it. Then click that face, click Scale. Let's do 4. That's too much. Let's do 3. That's good. then click Tools, Union, and then adjust these basically to whatever hardware you want. Let's just do 0.2. That's too, okay, that's too much. 0.05, sorry. And same thing here, 0.05. I could probably go 1 there. That's fine. So anyways, once we have this, what we need to do is transform, or rather add construction plane, and make sure it's on midplane. Select this face and this face to tie these together. Click Done, and then transform mirror to tie this piece together with the other side. And now we double click on this one and click Delete, believe it or not. But this basically makes it a right hinge versus a left hinge. And the way to make that go back, well, let's hide that plane real quick. Basically, if you click Select and Deletion, Mirror, Plane, if you click Suppress, then you turn it back to a left hinge. Okay, so this is an easy way to do that. And another reason for folders, again, if you can just do that with one motion instead of having to select, and then 1, 2, 3, unsuppress, right? I could just click an eye icon on the folder. Another reason for that. And I know this is quick and dirty, but hope you guys learned a lot. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Here at Shapr3D, our goal is to inspire and empower you to create your own amazing projects. Please support our work so that we can keep doing it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to see more.